In this section we'll show you how we can use cut, copy, paste, mirror, rotate, etc. to create an array of parts on the material. So the easiest way to proceed from now would be to create a grid and then place the shapes onto that grid. To do a grid, we go to the top toolbar and choose Grid Setup, and it's here that we can set the X and Y intervals of the grid, and we can also make the grid visible. There's nothing to say, of course, that the shape that we've got is currently relative to a grid position. So what we can do is we can move the grid origin such that it starts at this corner here. So to do that we use Grid Origin, go into Near Snap to lock the grid onto that bottom corner. So now the grid lines up with the component. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use the mirror command to create a mirror image of this shape, and we go into mirror, mirror an area. We can mirror in X, in Y, or in X and Y together, and then the mirrored selection can either be a copy, which is what we want, so the original is left in place. So the first thing I'm going to do is just drag my cursor around the area I'm interested in and then give it a grid location. This is the point about which it's going to mirror. The actual position I'm not too worried about now. Okay, because now what I can do is I can use the move command, and again I can move an area or a point or an individual element. So now I'm going to click and drag around the area I'm interested in, but now when I'm moving this I can lock that point to the bottom corner, and I can change my position mode to grid so that I can now line up the part. There we are. So we've got that shape mirror imaged, and now we can proceed to create an array over as much or as little of the page as we want to. So what we'll do now is we'll use the move command, move an area and create a copy. So I'm going to take that area, use the bottom left hand corner as my snap point, then go into grid mode and simply move the shape up. Now I can do the same thing again over the entire shape, hook point to that position, and now I'm still in move mode, so I can now drag that whole area and take a copy of it over there, and so on, so that we can start. You can see how we can quite easily fill up the material with the shape that we're interested in. The next thing we'll do is we'll create the bridges. So we'll zoom in on there. I'll just switch off the grid because I no longer need that. Now I can go into bridge mode, set the size of the bridge, which will be say 0.1 of an inch. So now I'm just having a think about which is the best way to do this. Well, I think what I'll do to start with is I'll just create bridges which just go between these arcs, no snap, so that it's just where I position the cursor to be. Now obviously you'll be able to choose your own bridging position if you don't like the ones that I'm choosing here. Okay, so that's combined each one of those shapes. Now what of course I could do is I need to create bridges between those. So if I go into constrain into X, I'll just constrain it there. Okay, so if I was to create contours now, I'd have one contour here, another contour, another contour, and another contour. So what I can now do is I can now try to create bridges between those 4 So I can go into Y constraint, go to there, and go to there. So that should be able to produce a complete contour for me. So let's see if it does. I'll go into NC mode. My machining datum is where my drawing datum was originally. But for instance, I might want to change my machining datum to be the top left hand corner. So I've gone into NC, and then from the toolbar here I set NC datum. I'm in near snap, so it will snap on to that position. So that's now set up my 0, 0. When I come to create a contour, I start here. I can leave all the defaults as they are and ask it to follow that line first of all. And that's created one complete shape for the entire thing. So now we could simply go to the print button and choose the link motion driver, and then your machine's cutting the foam. So that ends this video about how we can create the shape and then use the mirror and move commands to create a nested shape to use up most of the material.